The world has gone through a lot of transformation in the last 6 months, hasn't it? As an educator, it had been a year of tremendous learning and adapting for you, wasn't it? Additionally, you are also mentoring and supporting your students to cope with their academic, mental, and physical well-being in this new normal. Hi, I am Sindu Sreebhavan. I am your growth mindset coach and the developer of the Growth World Framework. You might have read Infinite Possibilities or any of my other books on growth mindset, or might have used one of my growth mindset resources in your classroom. The new normal is the reason why so many schools are focused on helping their students develop a growth mindset. Unfortunately, many are starting it with the wrong foundation. Firstly, if your school's plan is to help students learn growth mindset, you are wrong. You see, growth mindset is not a subject, it is a culture. That is, it's not learning growth mindset, it's about practicing a growth mindset. Do you want your students to practice a growth mindset? Then you practice growth mindset in your classroom. They will pick it up from you. I'm going to ask you some questions. Answer those questions as truthfully as you can to yourself. If I were younger, I would have done that. Do you say such things to your students? Then how are you demonstrating to your students that you can increase your intelligence and talents by making use of neuroplasticity? Do you get frustrated by certain students, or do you give up on certain students because of their behavior or attitude? Or do you think it's not possible to change some of them? If so, how are you demonstrating an attitude of taking challenges and working towards finding a solution? Do you know how to give process-focused feedback to your students so that they can unlock their real potential? Do you know how to help your students identify what they can learn from their mistakes and failures, and what process they can repeat from their successes? What kind of vocabulary do you use in your classroom? Are they growth driven or frustration driven? How do you know what's a growth mindset way to approach a situation when you feel frustrated or lost? You see, building your own growth mindset is the first step to building your students' growth mindset. Growth mindset is a culture, right? It's not a subject. And let that culture start with you. Now, what kind of tools, techniques, and frameworks do you use to implement a growth mindset in your classroom? Do you have a roadmap to implement it? If you have it, it is fantastic. Do you know that in order to make any habit stick, it needs regular practice of minimum 66 days. That is almost a school term. So having a plan, having a roadmap, having tools and techniques is important and essential in your growth mindset journey. If you don't have the right tools, techniques, framework, and a roadmap to implement growth mindset in your classroom, you will feel like a person who knows everything about growth mindset but doesn't know how to implement it and feels lost when trying to implement it. Have a plan, have a framework, give yourself time and note down the process and the progress. If you would like to know more about how to implement a growth mindset and make use of established framework, roadmap, plans, tools, and techniques, you may take a look at our Growth World series of training for educators in the link below. That will help you with all the tools, techniques, and roadmap to implement a growth mindset in your classroom and in your school. I wish you the very best in your journey of implementing a growth mindset in your own life as well as in the life of your students, so that you can unlock your real personal and professional potential and help your students unlock their own potential and be on a journey of growth towards their goals and dreams.